This video is about formatting lesson plans for facts. In front of you right now, you see an assignment. Imagine this was turned into you by a student. And it's about how I spent my summer vacation. And there's nothing wrong with the content. It's all good, it's well written, but the formatting is a mess. And you really wouldn't want to have to read this. Not because it's written poorly, it just looks bad. And so formatting is important, and consistency is important, not only in your lesson plans, but from class to class, because as families in Family Portal go from class to class, things should look the same, things should look consistent, things should look professional. And so we're going to talk about formatting for facts for the lesson plans today. So over to lesson plans, first let's get a couple things out of the way. Right now you have two rows that show lesson plans and homework notes. Now it's possible by going to settings up here, you can choose many more rows or sections. And below the homework notes you see assignments and documents, different labels and standards and such. We don't use all these at Desert Christian, and so make sure that the only two you are using are lesson plans and homework. And that's what we have on the screen right now. It's also important to note that for every day in every class, you need to have something in both sections. Every day, every class. And so don't just put things in lesson plans and say, well, we didn't have any homework today, so I'll just leave that blank. If you have no homework that day, put in no homework. If a certain class doesn't meet a certain day in the lesson plan, say that the class doesn't meet that day, so that the parents are not confused about that. Alrighty, the easiest way to have good formatting in facts is simply to type in facts. So here we're going to type something. Let's type draw a picture of a goat. And then we'll type in label the parts. Very clean, very easy to read. You can add things like bulleting to this if you want to. And that's just, it looks good. And so that's what we're going for, something that looks good with easy to read fonts in a reasonable size. But the problem is, many times we don't put our lesson plans in like that. We cut and paste from another source. And so let's talk about cutting and pasting from another source. Let's go to this assignment right here. Let's say that all you want to do is use this section right here in your lesson plan. So I've highlighted it. I'm going to copy it using Control-C, and it's copied now. Go back to the lesson plans. And if I paste this in here by using Control-Shift-V, what it's going to do is it's going to strip all of the formatting from the source and put it into facts as facts wants it formatted. So Control-Shift-V makes it look just like that. And it looks just the same as if you typed it right into facts yourself. Okay? But a lot of times you want to keep formatting. A lot of times you have things in your formatting that you don't want to lose. And so let's talk about how to accomplish that. Let's go to this assignment right here. And in this assignment, let's say that we want to put that part right there into facts. But notice it has a link in it, it has some bold print, it has some bulleting, and it also has a font that is not the same as the font used in facts. This is the Times New Roman font, and facts uses an Arial font. So let's highlight it. Let's copy it with Control-C, and now let's paste it into a blank Google Docs document, Control-V, and there it is again. Looks just the same as it did coming from the source document. Let's highlight it again, and let's change the formatting so that it looks correct in facts. We do that first of all by changing the font from Times New Roman to Arial because facts uses an Arial font. Now we need to change the size of the font. Right now it's set at 12, but what facts uses is 10.5. They don't use 10 or 9 or 11, 10.5. And you say to yourself, well, there is no 10.5 when I use the drop down. That's true, but you notice it's highlighted at the top where it says 12, and so all we need to do is type in 10.5, choose the Enter key, and now it's properly formatted with a 10.5 font. Your spacing should be at single. If all that is true, it's ready to go in. Let's highlight what we have formatted. Let's copy it with Control C, go back to lesson plans, and let's paste it in here. Control V. Notice that all the formatting remains the same. Your link is still there, your bold print's still there, your bullets are still there, and it looks good, just as if you typed it into fax and formatted it yourself. Also make sure that the text is left justified. Right now ours is left justified, but if I highlight this and change the justification to, let's say, center, that's what it looks like. And that looks kind of crazy. Right now all your bullets are way over here and your text is over here. In Parents Web, this is harder to read, so make sure that we keep things left justified, all of it left justified, in our lesson plans, so it looks more like that. So let's say you want to add much more detail about this big unit assignment from which this smaller assignment here came from. And so if you want to do that, one thing you could do is to simply copy all of this stuff and paste into your lesson plans, but that's a bit much. It's much better to add a link. And so to add a link, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the assignment, we're going to copy not all of this, but copy the URL that it comes from, Control C, go back to lesson plans, and choose the insert link icon, and then paste that URL, that link, right back into that URL frame. And underneath, type the text you want to show in your lesson plans. We're going to type in the assignment's title, which is Unit 5 Assignments. Then choose Insert. And notice now you have a nice clean looking link. That will actually lead to this when the student clicks on it. You could simply copy the URL and paste that right into the lesson plans, but notice that doesn't look nearly as good as the link we created right up here. And so to keep things looking good, let's eliminate these ugly looking gibberish links and use these nice looking professional links instead. So now when we close this page out, that's what the assignment looks like in your lesson plans. It looks pretty good, doesn't it? And that's what we're going for. A nice, clean, consistent look on your lesson plans, and one that looks consistent from class to class as well.